of the Legislative Parliamentary Committee, and my use pronouns he, him. And tonight we are having our fourth meeting regarding the bylaws of Community Board 1 here in Queens. We have covered a lot of ground in our previous three meetings. I appreciate everyone who has joined previously, and I think that we don't have all that much to cover tonight. I just want to get it going, and I appreciate you for being here. I need to start off with a roll call of committee members. Rod Townsend, here. Adam Fisher-Cox, just say here, please. Thank you. Marie Torniali is running late. She has let me know. Quinella?
Here.
Thank you. And I do not see Stacy as of yet. Oh, and Abby is a member of all committees.
Here.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so in the previous meetings, we have gotten through a large amount of the bylaws. We have gone through Articles 1 through 8, I believe. Sorry, I'm just catching myself up on my other screen. No. In one moment, I'll be sharing my screen, so we'll all be looking at the same thing. And I apologize for not having that pulled up in advance. Okay, we've actually gone through Articles 1 through 12 previously. And we're going to start up in Article 13, which is removal procedures. And I need to share my screen, which I need to remember how to do. I appreciate your patience. This is not something I do often. Can someone advise me where to find the share screen button?
Bottom of your screen, or at least on the bottom of my screen, there's a green button with an up arrow. It says share. Okay. You press there.
Okay.
Once you press that, it will display different screens. You'll be able to decide which one you would like to share. No, I have a PC. I don't have an Apple.
No worries.
We see your screen with the tree background, but it's very small. It would be great if you could enlarge it. It's still thumbnail. Getting better.
I can see it. It's fine.
Is that legible?
That's terrific. That's absolutely perfect. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. So we have, as most of you know, we have gone through our bylaws pretty exclusively. We've been comparing it to other bylaws that are throughout the city. As you can see, I have a spreadsheet. I did a deep dive into any bylaws that were available online. And how do I get back to my other? And in doing so, we have added a few things, and we've also reviewed what makes our bylaws different than some, and we've also compared it to the city charter. From the inception, the purpose of our bylaw review was to make sure things were in line with the city charter, but as we were going through this, we learned quite a bit. I'm just starting out, Florence. You have your hand up?
Yes, because I read the document. So there's a history to this document that the board is not aware of. I spoke with the very first district manager of Community Board 1, George Dellis, and other chairmen. And there's a very good reason why letter A is written the way it is. And also there have been notes to me about the choice of wording for letter 1A, which I'm very concerned about, which I would like to discuss openly, because as
Can I get to that, please? Florence,
Sure,
I need to run.
I'm just
I need to
saying.
run this. I understand that, but I need to run a meeting here. And I haven't even
Oh,
gotten
you
to
called
it
on
yet.
my hand. I apologize.
You-
You did call on my hand,
I
sir.
did, but I didn't expect you to take over. I mean, I
No, I'm
haven't
not
even
taking
discussed
over,
letter
sir.
1A yet, and I haven't even begun to discuss this.
No, I'm not
And
taking
you've
over.
already
I
jumped
read,
into it. You're jumping ahead of me.
no, I
Okay?
read 1A and I started by saying I read 1A. I don't mean to take over by any means. I read the document you put on the screen and I was commenting on the screen. I apologize.
Okay, let's focus on
Excuse me,
what's
Tom, I'm speaking with Rod. I'll be one moment. I'm apologizing to him as he placed something on the screen. I read it and I wanted to talk to him about it.
okay. So jumping back in. In reviewing the bylaws of all of these different community boards across the city and looking at the city charter and looking at Robert's Rules of Order, some things stand out. And we have been addressing those in the last 3 meetings. And now we have Article 13, which is in front of us, which primarily deals with removal procedures of board officers, of board members, and board staff. And that brings us to letter 1A. The original, as it's stated, is a motion to institute removal proceedings for a cause can be made at any monthly meeting of the board. Approval of such motion shall be made by 2/3 majority of the entire board members present during a regular monthly full board meeting. We, after reviewing all of these other citywide board bylaws, looking at the city charter, looking at Robert's rules, it seems to me that this is excessive. The more normal and good governance thing to do is to change this so it is not a 2/3 majority vote, but making it a simple majority. This is the precedent that we see throughout the city. This is what we see everywhere. Now we can discuss motion 1A. I want to hear from committee members first. Adam Quinella.
Hi, this is Quinella.
Thank
I
you.
think this is great if it's something that is uniformed around the community boards. And you definitely, like you said, you looked at the charter. I think it's a great change.
Thanks, Quinella. Adam?
Yeah, I don't have much to add here. I don't see any reason why our community board works in such a different way or is so unique that it should be different from kind of what the standard is in the city charter here. It seems straightforward.
Okay. Florence, you said you wanted to speak about the history of it. I'll give you 1 minute.
Thank you, sir. So as per the New York City Charter, the bylaws, the district manager has the right to participate in the formulation of the bylaws. In the past, in Queens, there have been issues where there have been conflict board member to board member or board member to district manager. So as per the Queensborough President's Office, what happened was a 2/3 majority vote was picked up so that if you should have a chairman, so Tom Jones is your chairman and he hates Mickey Rourke. He can't just put Mickey Rourke off. It has to be a 2/3 vote. The reason it was done that way is so it's fair and equitable for each of the board members and equally so for the district manager.
Okay, thank you. Abby's hand is up.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that on our own website, under the Guide to Parliamentary Procedure, that's under Resources, it explicitly states that we're supposed to follow the quorum plus majority for any decision making. It's explicit right there that it supersedes Robert's Rules of Order. So, and I don't know how, if this is going back to George Dulles who wanted this, that was, whatever, how many years ago, I think, and I'm not even going to go into that situation there because, anyway, that's a whole thing. But basically I support this for removal of the chair, board members, as well as district manager, all 3. This is what it should be.
Okay, Shahanaz?
I have a quick question. For majority, is this meaning 50 plus 1?
Yes, that's
Thanks
correct.
a lot. Thank you very much.
while I do understand that there's a history that this board, I had looked at previous bylaws of this board. I also know that this board was criticized for all sorts of things before I was a member of it. There was actually a website that made fun of Community Board One. Those days are past. We have our folk, you know, whatever those issues were, I don't want to revisit them. I don't want to rehash them. But what I do want to do is make this document as 100% as much as possible a good governance document. So I've heard from 1, 2, 3 people from the committee, all in favor of this. Florence, I'll give you 1 minute.
Sir, when you call on me, I'm the only one you're telling you're going to give 1 minute. You can just call on me and that'll be fair enough, and I'll keep it brief, I promise. Institutional knowledge matters. And as the boards turn over, the institutional knowledge is going to matter even more. So when you're discussing something as important as the bylaws, you would really need to know the background. Whether you disregard it or not, that's at your leisure. Of course, you are the committee members, you are the board members. By my assisting, because as per the charter I'm allowed to, it's only to give you the institutional information.
And I appreciate that. Thank you, Florence. When we talk about history, not all history is good history. And that's why I bring up the fact that this board was widely criticized. This is before term limits. This is when there were a lot of entrenched members of the board who didn't participate much and rubber stamped things. We have a much more vibrant and active board now. I want to support that. I believe that this move does that. Is there further discussion on this? Does anybody have a negative opinion on it? Quinella.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think it's great to have something in writing, and that's also part of institutional knowledge. When you have something in writing that you could pass on to the next people that come in. So I think this is great.
Thank
And I'm
you,
happy
Marie.
that you're doing this, Rod. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinella. Marie.
I agree as well. I think it's great to have all this in writing. And I also want to apologize for being late. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom.
I'm just questioning, I'm sorry I didn't come on exactly at time, but 15 minutes, we're all the way up to Article 13. Is that correct? Did we go through everything already?
I'm sorry I did not hear all of that. Can you
No,
please
my
repeat
question
it?
is, I see on the board, we're on Article 13. It's 6:45. Did we go through all these articles already, or are we just going?
This is
Well,
the
there's-
first meeting that we've had.
No, I understand it. My question is at this moment, have we gone through each article already? Because we're already on 13.
In the first 3 meetings, we went through Articles 1 through 12. We are now on 13.
Oh, so we're starting 13 at this meeting.
Correct. We're not rehashing.
Okay, all
everything
right.
we
I
have done
didn't know.
previously.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I see general agreement, so I'm going to change from a review of boards committee citywide to proposed amendment. Okay, we're going to scroll down. The next change is letter D, which we should actually back up a little bit because we're referring to things that have happened previously. If so once this motion is approved, Tom, I see your hand is still up.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
All
I just want to make
right.
sure you're being heard. So this motion, which was requiring 2/3, we're now suggesting a majority. If it passes, that moves us on to letter B in this article, 1B, I should say. If the motion is approved, the presiding board officer, who shall be the highest ranking board officer, not the subject of removal proceedings, shall designate a 3-member committee to investigate allegations and report at the next meeting. This is consistent to what I saw in a lot of bylaws, and so that we are not automatically removing someone at one meeting. We are having a system and a process to it. Letter C, this committee shall be comprised of one member chosen by the presiding board officer, a second member selected by the person who is the subject of the removal proceedings, and a third selected by both jointly. And again, I believe that creates a very fair process. Letter D, this is where I'm suggesting a change. The previous says, upon report of said committee, 3/4 vote of the entire board members is needed to approve the motion for removal. I am suggesting, based on my review, again, that we change this to a simple majority as opposed to 3/4. So again, this is again moving something which is almost insurmountable, 3/4, where in a board of 50, that means 13 people could band together to keep a bad actor. So instead, we are changing this to a simple majority. I'm seeing thumbs ups in the windows here. If anybody would like to discuss it further, otherwise I'm taking those thumbs up as approval, and I would like to continue to scroll on. Okay, moving on. We have no changes to section 2 or 3. Okay, so that covers the removals of board officers and board members. Now we're in Article 14. This is another removal procedure. Previously, it was the district manager can be only removed by a 2/3 vote of the entire appointed board members. We are suggesting, based on review of citywide community boards, that this be changed to a simple majority. We are also have, okay, so that's a thing of its own. And again, it's carrying through the good governance idea of a simple majority running things as opposed to a 2/3 or 3/4 vote. Is there any discussion on that? I see a thumbs down, a thumbs up. Okay, as I see a majority thumbs up, I'm moving on and making this a suggested amendment. Real time slow typing, sorry. Okay, and what on the duties of the district manager. Currently, no changes to 3A, 3B, or 3C. In letter D, attends regularly monthly and special board meetings and executive committee and standing committee meetings. This was suggested by the chair. Abby, if you don't mind reading it to save my voice a little bit.
Sure. District manager shall be present at all regular monthly meetings, special meetings, and public hearings. That's what's in the city charter. And that's pretty much what you see anywhere. District manager may be present at committee and working group meetings.
As this is a suggestion from you, I would like you to introduce the topic.
Introduce what?
Introduce the rationale for making the change.
Yeah, the rationale is that those basically the district manager is required for those other meetings, but they're not required at the other ones. There are other boards where executive board members work with the committee chairs to run the committee meetings. Sometimes the district manager may come, sometimes they don't. We also have a lot of committee meetings, regardless of who is district manager. It should not be required that they're all at committee meetings. It's not necessary. It's not required or mandated in the city charter. It's not standard practice anywhere.
Florence.
Many community boards, district managers attend all the community meetings. The committee meetings are important because when the public calls the office with concerns, complaints, and comments, the district manager is able to fill in the public regarding the committee meetings. Additionally, the committee chair people often have questions or need help, and they'll refer to me and ask me questions. It has been said that I speak out. If you watch most of the meetings, I don't speak out. I help them. And it also educates me to educate the public. Now, it's clear by these bylaws that you want to change my role completely, because the massive amount of things in these bylaws is about changing what I do. But as you, the board members, are termed out in 27 and 30, you're going to cause a hardship to future board members. I'm being told that, now board members are being told that if they choose, I shouldn't call them. But when I send them 5 emails and they don't respond to the emails, I need to call them if I'm doing an agenda. If I'm doing a committee meeting and the committee chair doesn't know about the topic, instead of writing a thesis in an email, it's much easier for me to speak to them. Sometimes in the middle of a committee meeting, the committee chairs will ask me a question because they won't remember something that they need to know. Often we don't have quorum. And so I will sit and I will, for lack of a better term, and I know you're not going to like it, jibber jabber with the chairs, ask them, what is your vision? What do you want? What do you see? How can I help you to make it better? Because at a lot of the committee meetings, even with Zoom, we do not have a large turnout. We have 2 or 3 board members who turn out at every single committee meeting, but the committee members don't turn out. So this is inhibiting, 1, the office, and 2, the board.
Adam,
Every board does not perform the same exact way. You're trying to standardize bylaws that were never meant to be standardized because you think it's good. The next group of board members.
okay, you've editorialized on this before, and
I'm sorry, but this is important, Rod. Please provide me the courtesy.
Okay, but we are talking about a very specific thing.
We are. We're talking about.
Yes, and you are going off of that topic. So if you can't stay on the topic, I'll mute you.
I am on topic, sir. I'm talking specifically about attending commuting meetings. The
But
ballot
then you went off of it. Then you went off of it.
I didn't. It's all related.
I'm muting you. Adam.
Thanks. I mean, I think the suggested revision to this does not preclude anything that's happening today. District manager may continue to be present at committee and working group meetings. And I think it makes sense to not require that in the letter of the law for, any city employee to not have to attend all of these, late in the evening if that's not the way that they want to do that in the future. I think, Florence, if you want to continue to do that and you have your reasons to do that, the language here still completely allows that. This feels like a fine change that doesn't restrict anything and is just more clear about what we're actually requiring and how we the things that we want as a bare minimum here.
No.
I mean, I think it's, my thing is when we on some of the board meetings, it's like, Florence just takes up so much time. No offense, Florence, but you take up so much time telling us the history of things that happened in the past. And I myself have asked you, when you told me something, I would like it in writing. To me, if I see it in writing, then I can say, yes, that's what happened. Yes, that's what should happen. But if you constantly interrupt and you talk all the time, and then how can you even get anything done? Like, look what you're doing in this meeting. You're just sucking the air out of the room instead of just focusing on what, this bylaws is supposed to do for the committee, for the whole community board. I mean, I just don't understand why you just can't let, these things get talked about and decided on. It's no attack against you. It's just, let's do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I want to interject because this isn't about this district manager or this community board. It's about the community board going forward and the district manager going forward. I hate to tell you all of this, but we are not going to live together forever, and we're not going to be what we're doing forever. This is very specifically what we're discussing in this very moment is to lessen the load of the district manager so that they are not required to attend every meeting. That's all. Are there more thoughts on this? Okay, I'm going to move forward. Evie, you have added, so there's no other changes to the job description for the district manager or the duties of the district manager. But there are two suggested additions that come from the chair. Actually one from the chair and then one from the committee. Evie, if you don't mind reading letter O that you have suggested.
Sure. So during the months of July and August, when the board is not active, the district manager would refer any committee-related matters that require urgency or typically an advisory vote must be brought to the attention of the board chair and respective committee chairs to determine, sorry, I'm just getting over a cold too, to determine if a special session is needed. So for example, there may be, I mean, this is just basically what's been happening over the past few years. There may be a particular nightclub that is up for liquor license renewal, and we as a committee or a board have no way of necessarily knowing about it. So there might be a need for a special land use committee meeting. We actually did have that happen during COVID with Innovation Queens. We had a meeting in July. So again, this is just that if there's anything that comes up, because we as board members don't get to see what comes in through the office email, what notices we get, that anything that would require an advisory vote or requires urgency for some of the reasons that I mentioned, it gets brought to the board chair's attention and the respective committee chairs, and then they can determine whether there might be need for a special session. Probably not in most cases, but just in case there needs to be one, they would know and be able to make that decision.
Okay. Tom, your hand is up.
My apologies, but I'm way behind you. I've tried to print this bylaws out twice. It says 51 pages, but I'm only getting through Article 11. Is there two different things I have to go to print the rest of it? Any ideas?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the nature of the question.
My nature of my question, I printed out from the last thing sent today, friendly reminder about the bylaws. It says there are 51 pages. I printed them out, but it only goes to section 11, and I know there are more. Is there some reason I'm not getting the complete set?
Because what was sent out is what we have covered already. This is new stuff that we're
I
discussing
understand that.
tonight.
And I'm looking at the last thing posted today, and I printed it twice thinking, okay, my printer, but I'm only getting the first half, I guess. Where is the second half? And how do I get that?
So you understand?
I'm sorry?
So you understand?
I don't understand what you're saying.
The document that you printed out is what we have covered previously. This
I
is
understand
new.
that. Got that. What I'm
Okay.
saying is I'm going to print the bylaws. I have 51 pages and I printed it from today's friendly reminder. I only have up to Article 11. I'm trying to find the complete set. Is there two sets or is there one set? Am I missing something?
Because these are things that we are discussing tonight, they were not sent out as part of the package. What was in the package was what we had discussed previously.
So what I have
This
is all,
is
I don't have the whole
Because
set.
this will be changing, because these could be changed from our meeting and our discussion, they were not sent out. This is a living document
Ah, okay. I didn't
that I'm
understand.
making.
So what I have is, I only have half of it and you haven't sent out the half that we're discussing.
Okay, I'd like to bring this back around to the addition from the chair, but O is a discussion on it seems rather germane to me.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. So we don't have, you will send it out?
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I have half of the document. I thought I'd have the whole document for tonight's meeting. I only have to 11, X1, we're in 13 or 14.
I'm
You're
sorry,
saying
Tom.
those-
I don't know how to explain this again. Adam, can you possibly explain it? Maybe I'm not using English properly. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Tom, you're talking about the document that you downloaded from the email that Florence sent out with the reminder for this meeting.
Right,
It looks kind of like what you have on screen with the two columns, bylaws on
Yes.
one side and empty on the other. Yeah, that covers everything that we have covered in the previous three meetings. We covered up to Article 11.
okay,
That's where that document ends. That's just a reminder for anybody in this
Okay.
meeting. Here's what we covered so far. What Rod has on the screen right now is Article 12 and forward, which is what we're covering today. So you don't have a copy of that because we're working on it live right now.
I see. That's what I was
If-
trying to understand. It didn't make sense, but now it makes sense.
If you wanted a copy
Okay.
of the full bylaws, I guess you could get that from the community board website, but it's not going to be in this format.
And when are you planning to send the rest of it out?
After we meet and after we make the proposals that we're discussing right now.
Can I get a copy of what's on the screen now so I can see it?
It's on the screen currently.
I
you can't see
understand
it.
that. I don't know why this is so hard. Why can I get a hard copy of what's on the screen now?
Yes, at the conclusion of the meeting, after we discuss these objects, which are not set in stone currently.
I understand that it's a draft, but I'd like to look at it so I have to see the screen. So can I get a copy or I can't get it?
I don't know how to do that.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know how to do that, Tom. It's on the screen currently.
I understand that. Will you answer my question, please? Are you
I
able?
don't understand the question. It's on your
The
screen.
question is
You're
very
asking to look
straightforward,
at
Ron.
it, and it's
I'm
there on the
asking for a
screen.
hard copy of what's here. Usually we put things out ahead of time when we have a meeting. This is, having,
I don't have a hard copy of these to send out because it's a living document that's being modified as we're meeting.
I understand it's a draft and you could send out a draft. Can you send me a copy of this draft? It's easy, yes or no?
I'm going to put a link to the same document that you're looking at in the chat.
Okay, and I get it that way.
So you'll have the exact same document.
Okay, that's what I
On
would
its
like.
own.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
Evie, you have access to that. Can you show it, please? So I can continue.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Can you put a link to the document that we're looking at on our screens in the chat so that Tom can view it separately?
Sure, let me open it up because I don't
Just
have
as if you, yeah, as if
Yes,
you
ma'am.
only share, please. Is there any discussion of letter O that's been suggested?
It seems pretty straightforward. I just have an editing comment that I think we should strike must be brought from letter O here because we also say refers any. It doesn't quite follow through. But other than that, the intent of this feels right.
So that,
Yeah, refers any committee related matters that require urgency or typically an advisory vote to the attention of the board chair. Yes, exactly.
that's a good call. Of the committee members, is there a general thought on this approval? You can use thumbs up emojis if you like. Okay, I'm seeing general approval from the committee members. Thank you. Next up was a suggested addition from a committee. This actually came from one of our first meetings, and that's letter P. Compile monthly reports to the board summarizing constituent service calls in the previous month, highlighting any issue generating outsized public interest. And that's, I think, something we've also might have discussed in general community board, but this is just giving an awareness, making it part of the district ownership report to know what are people calling about. So that way we're not receiving, when we hear about Code Nightclub receiving a lot of phone calls only when their liquor license is up. It's good to know that this nightclub has actually been receiving calls throughout the year. And that's the thought behind this. Is there a discussion about this? Fernella is getting a thumbs up. Marie and Adam also. Okay, there seems to be general agreement for that. So I'm changing these to proposed amendments. Okay, moving down. That is everything regarding the district manager's responsibilities. This actually, we had skipped ahead to Article 15 at an earlier meeting and suggested and added under the general construction clause that the board chair should appoint a committee to review the bylaws for every year ending 5 at 0. We've already discussed that. No changes, no changes. And then amendments to the bylaws. The current ratification of a change to the bylaws. I'll just go ahead and read number 4, which is Article 18, number 4. Ratification of an amendment to these bylaws shall be made only by a 2/3 vote of the board members present and voting at the next regular monthly full board meeting. That is following a process that is outlined in 1, 2, and 3, which explains how the modifications to the bylaws are made. And then the suggestion is made that this also go from a 2/3 vote to a majority vote as we have for everything else in other areas. Discussion. Florence, I see your hand up.
Yes. So we're moving forward, and we were told when the bylaws were going to be reviewed that this was for perpetuity for the next generation of board members, so that when term limits come to being, that we would work to give them information that they could work off of, correct?
Yes.
That's why this started. We have term limits for our chairperson of 6 years, but term limits for all community board members are 8 years. So with the new 8-year term limits, shouldn't the term limits for the chairman only be 4 years so that more than one person can have an opportunity to become chairman?
That was something that we discussed in an earlier meeting, and we're currently discussing ratifications of the bylaws.
Very briefly, we skimmed over it and we skipped forward.
Okay,
But I
can
think
we
it's
stay on
something.
I'm going to keep us on the topic that is at hand, and then we can go back to that.
Thank
But-
you. That's all.
And I will remind you of the rationality that was presented and the discussion that we had at the previous meeting.
I was at the meeting, I recall. It was skipped over. Thank you.
It is not. Adam.
Yeah, this one. Well, unless there's more process to ratifying the amendments to these bylaws, this one feels a little iffy to me, only because if it's a majority of board members present and voting, theoretically, I guess a small number of members at a given meeting could change the bylaws such that it then requires, a 99% vote of all board members or something completely impossible to attain and kind of lock something in that way. It feels very unlikely that something like that would happen, but in the spirit of good governance, this one just feels a little bit maybe a little too easy to attain if there's not some sort of second piece of this process that I may be missing. I'd be curious for any opinions in the other direction, but that's just one thing that jumped out to me is this maybe would allow kind of a minority to take things in a certain direction easily if they happen to be at a low attendance meeting or something like that.
More discussion on that? Abby, this was your suggestion, I believe.
Again, it was just making it consistent with the city charter. I think any change in bylaws, you can't just spring them on at a meeting, right? So you have to work on them, present them, and then give a month's time, right? So I would assume that, if people were particularly, they would show up at the meeting, but it would still mean there has to be at least, well, depending on how many people are on the board at any given time, but still 26 people present. But again, it's just more about consistency with what the city charter says in terms of our decision making and how it should be.
Florence, I see your hand up. Was that from before or is this from it?
I meant to lower it.
No problem. So Marie, as a former chair and an experienced member of the board, what is can you share your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on two-thirds versus the majority? And before you do that, you will know in the previous sections 1, 2, and 3, there is a construction here, so it's not simply in a meeting with low attendance that suddenly a majority can change the bylaws. There is going to be a month's lapse where if a bad idea is presented, there is time to organize against that bad idea.
Yeah, I had missed that piece.
Maria,
That makes me more comfortable with it. Sorry.
Okay, Marie.
Yeah, I think the vote should be standardized. While I appreciate how you feel, Adam, I don't think that could happen. It's not like we're going to spring bylaws at a meeting, without going through the standard process like we're doing now. Several meetings for changes, then there'll be another bylaws committee meeting, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, Rod, to present the final product, and then it will go to the board. So I don't think, no offense, that we need to worry about that.
Yeah, that makes total sense. The answer to my question is 1, 2, and 3 here provide ample time to see anything like that happening and vote against it. So I withdraw my concern.
How is our committee feeling for this? General consensus toward, it seems like. You can see thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. So I'm going to change this to a proposed amendment. The final section is just effective dates of bylaws, and that's it. Sorry if my dog is very excited by this, but I'm also excited that after over 6 months of discussions and 4 committee meetings and hours of review and study that we have made it through the entire bylaws. Thank you for the applause, the silent applause of emojis. I'm doing a quick search until the question is asked. So in our previous discussion, there was no amendment proposed to change timing. Laws.
You call me Rod?
Your hand is up, so I thought you wanted.
Yes. I was saying that we were told that this was to prepare for the future and that this review process was to make things easier for the next generation of board members. I made a simple comment that now that board members are going to start term limiting out in 2027 and then again in 2030, our bylaws, when they were created, I made the suggestion 3 two-year terms with biannual voting. Now that board members are being term limited out, because when these bylaws were done, that wasn't the case. That was my suggestion. Now I am suggesting an annual vote with a 4-year term limit for the chairman, because you want to have new people give new ideas to the board. And by having 6 years when there's an 8-year tenureship, it's not fair to the board members who may want to take a shot at being the chair.
Nothing
If
to
we
put in
are
the note.
preparing, if we are truly preparing for the future, that would need to be addressed.
Thank you. I understand what you're saying there, but I'm not a fan of term limits at all and ever. And if we have an extraordinary chair, I don't know why we would want to limit their ability to continue being the chair if the board so does chooses to elect and then re-elect them. Marie.
Because Vinny was chair for 38 years and people didn't like the opportunity for one person to be chair for 38 years. So the term limits were put in just like they were put in for the council so that other people could have an opportunity.
Thank you for the history on that, but that's why we've also created a more streamlined legal process. Marie.
Right, and it also doesn't mean that the current chair wants to run again or that someone else wants to run against them. So I think the point is moot. It really doesn't matter. They can go for
Really?
6 years if she's doing a great job, or he, or maybe somebody else will run this January. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I think it's something that the board can and should take into consideration, knowing, when term limits may end and how we want to, bridge that sort of knowledge over big turnovers. But putting term limits in the bylaws themselves seems to kind of take that power away from the board to kind of make it its own decision by voting. And I think the concern that one person might become entrenched for decades is a lot more is an important concern. But now that board members have term limits, and I think that sort of thing kind of can only happen when that person has a majority of people also on the board for decades who will continue to vote for them. And as the board itself turns over, I think we can expect that the chairperson would too if there was any issue with them. So I don't think it's necessary to put it in writing here.
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask for some clarification because I didn't understand this one.
You
You can hear me?
If you can speak up, I'm so sorry.
Okay, yeah, I want to ask for some clarification regarding the, I hear from Florence now in 2027 and 2023, 30 will be the term for 6 years. Is this correct? First, can someone answer?
Sorry, but my speaker is so light and I can't turn
Okay,
it up anymore.
like in 2027
yes,
and 2030, the term will be 6 years. Every 2 years you apply again. Like you cannot, I believe, run more than 3 years. Is this correct? First question. Evie, can you answer? If Tom cannot hear me?
Yeah, no, what happens in 2027 is the first set of term limits kicks in. So there will be a group of board members who will complete their service. They won't be able to be appointed anymore. They could take a year off and reapply, but basically it's an 8-year term limit, right? So when the law was changed, basically kind of the clock started, and the 8 years will be up for the first group in 2027. There's going to be another group the next year, but then they, to make sure that there wasn't going to be like everybody kind of gone within a very short time, the people that were elected in, I believe it was 2020 or reappointed in 2020, instead of just getting 8 years, they got 10 years. But anyone who came onto the board after the law changed, it's 8 years maximum term. So what we're talking about here is not how long a board member can serve, but how long
Yeah,
office.
no, but was my first question because it will be related for the chair. But for example, now if I am going to be 8 years there and the 6 years as a chair, like I'm not talking about now because now we have still the old fashioned. But in the future, if I'm now have 8 years as a board member and the chair has 6 years, this is why I'm asking. But in the end, as Adam said, it's still by elected. It's like everyone has a chance. But if the people choose the person to stay 6 years, that's okay. But this is why I'm asking, like, is the person with 6 years, how's the person going to stay 6 years? But now you clarify is 8 years, and the person can stay 6 years, like 3 term, and they have the vote. And since the people choose, like the community board choose who want to be the chair, this is their voice. I agree with this. Thanks a lot. I want to be only clarification, like to know the years and by numbers. Thanks a lot.
Problem.
Okay, I'm not seeing a call for an additional 3 minutes or a change to this. With that, good committee members, board members, Florence, everybody here, we have made suggested amendments to the bylaws that can be presented in our committee report, which will happen next week. And we will then begin the process of making the amendments that we have proposed, which aren't actually that many. If you see me scrolling through the page, there's not a lot in the right column. We did some cleanup. We did some good governance. We made some things that are going to be more in line with the rest of the city and the city charter. And I thank you for your service. And this is not the most fun thing to do in the world. But we did it. And I hope you all feel as good as I do about it. And I love that energy. Thank you for the happy emojis. Marie.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to thank you, Rod, for undertaking this and making it smooth and simple to understand. Thank you.
I thank you for teaching me as much as you have throughout the years. Unless there is other business to discuss, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. These before that, I will have this. I'm going to do a little bit of document cleanup, and you'll have a copy of this in advance. That's it. Anybody want to adjourn and say the other stuff to talk about?
Thank you, Rod and Adam.
Okay. With that, I wish you all a good night, and I'm going to rest my voice now. Thank you.
Thank
Feel
you.
better, Rod?
Oh, Stacy did come, Rod, so you might want to just add her to.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Stacy.
Studios, please end the meeting. Thank you for your service.